Alright, so in the shop today, I feel like doing some leather work. Why? Because I just got this really nice big shoulder of Wicket and Craig English bridal leather. There's recommendation to go with this this style leather and this cut from a friend, Lionhead Restorations, Big Life. Ryan over there at his channel. This is the same stuff he uses. He does some phenomenal leather work. And I wanted to try to step up my leather game a bit by using some higher quality stuff. And this is that. I know I'm doing the 1,000 subscriber giveaway build, but I want a little bit more practice with working with this new stuff, this stuff here, prior to doing that build. So this is not going to be a full-blown tutorial, how-to, anything close to that. It's just kind of bringing you along in the shop and showing you me playing around with this new leather. So, and the candidate for receiving a new sheath, mask, sheath, whatever you want to call it, is this PLUMB Connecticut pattern. It's one of my favorite axes. It's a really nice head. It's a nice head. If you've watched the channel for a while, you've probably seen this in a number of different videos. Connecticut pattern versus Tassie. I don't remember if I did a video on sharpening this one or not. Can't remember. But, yep, this is the one that's in my my PLUMB Connie. That's my user. This is on a 28-inch house handle. It's one that I did my usual scroll end on. Kind of domed the wedge here a little bit. I domed the tongue where it's part of that eye. But yeah, this is... I'm rambling again. If you watch this channel for any length of time, you know I ramble. But yeah, this is what we're going to make a sheath for. At least going to try to. And this is the new leather we're going to use to hopefully do it. So this is, like I said before, it's Wicket and Craig. So Wicket and Craig, English bridal leather. It's a shoulder, that's the cut of it. The color is medium brown. The thickness is 10 to 12 ounces, so it's definitely thicker. And I got the size that was, 8 to 10 square feet because I was already paying for shipping, so I wanted to kind of maximize my bang for my buck, I guess. Back out a little bit here. Yeah, like I said, it's a big sheet of leather for sure. Like I said, it's 8 to 10 square feet, so you can see my bench is like 8 feet long. It's covering up a good portion of it, but it feels like it's really nice stuff. Super thick. I haven't worked with anything this thick before, so that'll be kind of challenging to see. It's a shoulder, so the edges of it, I believe, are, you can see you got some sections where they had the clamps on it and stuff like that from where they were, stretching it and tanning it and all that stuff. But a lot of these other little scars and stuff like that just give it character, so I think it'll be a really cool piece to make some sheaths with. I'll probably try to maybe start working in this little corner here, using up some of that for this project. So, first things first, I'm going to make a template like I've done in the past. That's helped me immensely before, so I'm going to get on that. Alright, so I've got some cardboard set up here, and I plan to just trace the outline of the axe. I have an issue where I can't not explain things. I'm too long-winded. I really got to work on trimming it down a bit. We're making a template. I don't need to go into every little step. We've done it before. If you're curious, you can watch some of the other videos. one of the things that I did make recently, I didn't make a video on it, but was this little template tracing thing. I saw Old Iron Axe and Tool when he was doing one of his videos talking about tracing handle templates, or handles for a template. He had this little wooden block with a pencil in it. I think it was wood that he had it now. He had a little block that had a pencil in it. And it had just got me thinking about making little, like a little jig type thing to hold a lead for tracing. And this is what I came up with on my own. It doesn't work perfect, but it works. It seems to work okay so far. This is just a piece of it's corian, which is like a synthetic countertop type material. It's like synthetic stone almost, but it's just really dense and heavy. It's like a really dense, heavy plastic almost. If you're familiar with like Delrin, it's really similar to that. But I basically just drilled a hole in it to fit a lead that comes in, you use for these like kind of like marking pencils, and then just drilled a hole for a set screw. Tap that. Use that to, you can take that in and out and adjust it. Then we kind of get the lead where you want it. Just gently tighten that down. And I glued the piece of leather on there to not scratch up what you're doing, and also to like provide that offset. So as that pencil, that tip comes down, you've got clearance, so that the tip of your pencil is about where your jig is butted up against. So, not really super handy for for tracing a bit, because that leather is too high, but I can just use a normal pencil for that. But it is handy for tracing like the back of the back of the axe. So it's a maiden voyage. So we'll give it a little test here. The other downside to this thing that I'm seeing right now is I can't get into super tight corners with it. I probably could redesign this. Maybe I'll make another version eventually once I kind of perfect what I want to do with it, and kind of like bevel the tip of it, like put a chamfer there and a chamfer here, so it comes to a point, so that way I could get into corners better. That might be kind of neat. But again, this would be more handy for tracing like a handle template, not as necessarily a head as much. But I just made it so I wanted to. I just made it so I wanted to give it a test. Because you can just get pretty close with one of these type of pencils, anyways. You don't necessarily need some kind of fancier tracing jig, but it works nice on the handle. And you could control the, I feel like this is a video that's becoming just talking about this thing. But if you make this with a thinner piece of leather, you can control the offset with, or if you had something that, tapped a couple screws in there, put some pieces of wood that you could, with a recess where you could, put some like shims almost to control how far that offset is. You can control that you've got, oh yeah, you've got your tips here, but you've got an extra hunk of leather here, so you're at your template level plus another 1/8 or plus another 1/4, however thick you stack it. So I don't know, I'm just kind of playing around with the idea. Not necessary by any means. There's a million different ways to approach it, but clearly I like coming out in the shop and puttering around and tinkering with things, so making that little jig is a natural extension of that. Alright. I've learned from experience, give yourself more room on this flap than you think, because it uses quite a bit of material folding over and spanning the width of that bit. Alright, I'm happy enough with that for the template. We will go with that and tweak it as we go. All right, now we've essentially got two identical pieces. Keep this one. That's going to be our back of our sheath. And then you just lop off the top part here at the top of our axe. We got our back and our front, so they match up there. But we need a welt still too. So we're going to trace this again once more and cut out our welt, and then we'll have our three pieces. All right, now we got our three pieces for our three-piece sheath construction. So our back, our welt, and our front. All right, so as far as the hide goes, this is probably some of the more, which is still nice, but this is some of the more damaged, scarred, beat up area. I mean, it's leather. It's kind of what's cool about it, right? But you know, it's got character. It's not all the same. But I think this is the little lobe, I guess I'm going to try to get all my pieces out of. The same general area. So I should be able to get, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 sheaths out of this, maybe more. We'll see. See how far it stretches. Obviously, if it's a double bit sheath or something like that, you're gonna use a lot more leather, but that's not a bad bang for your buck. I think I'm happy with this placement. All of the show sides are down where it should be. It's kind of like a Tetris game, trying to fit it all in where you're having the least amount of waste. But you also got to kind of avoid, I'm trying to avoid like the little pieces that have like the little scarring and stuff like that, or, you know, that might mess with the final outcome. So trace it out, get to cutting. Hopefully you can see any of those outlines, but we'll probably just cut here and then try to work with the rest. Alright, I've got our section of leather cut off from the larger section of hide. I just tried to stick close to where I was going to be having the least amount of waste as possible. So now just the tedious part of cutting it out. I did just sharpen the knife, so hopefully that helps a little bit. Start at the bottom here. Gently placing this on here, because once you start pressing any kind of pressure, it's stuck. You've got a tiny little bit of wiggle room before you start pressing down on it, but not much. This contact cement really means business. So that's already burnishing up way nicer than I was expecting. So, or burnishing easier, a lot easier than I was expecting, which is great. Yeah, you just keep at it. So figure out spacing for this. Usually do one down in the corner there, one up here at a stress point, one up top here, and one there. Yeah, that looks about right. We'll just mark these. Here with this. Alright, we'll see if we can make a groove here. This is what it is. I don't really care if the stitching actually lays in that groove. I more so want a even line to trace this. So when I run my little spacing wheel, I've got a path to follow. So this isn't the actual holes, this is me just making a good enough indentation so that I can find it when I'm trying to drill it with the drill press. I'm not going to bore you guys with showing me drill these, but this is a drill press and drilling holes, you get the idea. So we've got our holes drilled. We've got the larger holes drilled for the, if we can focus here. Got the larger holes drilled for the rivets, copper rivets. And you can see that one's a little offset just because I eyeballed the placement for the rivets. But then we've got all the smaller holes drilled for the thread. So basically I'm just going to do some saddle stitching on here. And we'll come back and do the copper rivets. Again, I'm using this kind of like cream kind of colored yellow thread. Like I said, when it's on the whole spool, it's a little more yellow, but against the actual leather, it's kind of like a cream color. So, yep, you can use a bunch of that and just stitch it. Saddle stitch it. So the saddle stitching is done. I'll bring you in for a little closer look. I don't pretend to be the best stitcher or leather worker or anything by any means, but I'm happy with how it came out. I think it looks good. Backside looks just about as good. I do kind of wish I would have tried to put that groover in there, because I do think the front looks better with it. But live and learn. There we go. Alright, so our rivets are pushed through. The only other thing left to do besides that is obviously set our burrs, pin those over. Maybe we'll do that now. Alright, now pin these over. Alright, those all feel pretty good. Alright, so test fit. I probably should have done that at a few points before now, but I think hopefully we'll be okay. Oh, that fits nice. That fits nice. Okay. It's almost like I kind of half know what I'm doing. Yeah, that fits the bit really nicely. Doesn't feel like there's any wiggle room. Got some copper shards on there, but that's all right. No worse for the wear. Looks good. I'm happy with it. Really, the only thing that's left is the stud closure. It should be tight enough, so I'd like it to be about there. So hopefully there we go. Yep, we went through both layers, so I do have a mark on there. So I've got the stud on. I got it on off camera. It was a bit of a struggle. I had to use fencing pliers to grab the stud and then a screwdriver to like press it in after sanding the back of the sandpaper a little bit. Basically, these stud closures are probably not big enough for this weight of leather. So I'll probably pick up some more. I mean, these are pretty cheap, so I'll probably pick up some more stud closures. Because this leather's so thick, I'm going to be a little bit more generous with the length of that. So I think you just need to get broken in a little bit. I still think that these stud closures are still a bit too small for this size leather, so I probably will order some more. I think it'd be fine if the stud, the narrow part of the stud, you know what I mean, like the middle part, was just a tad bit longer. I think it would work a little bit better. So maybe I'll look for some with the same dimensions, so I can just swap that screw out. But it does work. It works better when you have the axe in it. Just kind of some backing. Just kind of got to press hard. And I said, I think as it breaks in and that top piece of leather kind of starts holding, especially after you get some oil on it, I think it'll hold even better. But I like it. I like how the axe sheath came out. It's definitely a little bit of a learning curve, learning how to work with the thicker leather, but I'll get there. I think overall, though, I'm happy with the project. It definitely came out. It's not, you can't pull that sheath off at all. It's a nice tight fit. All this stuff will kind of lay flatter as the leather kind of conforms to the axe, but for right now, I think it's looking pretty good. Probably could have spent more time burnishing and sanding the edges, but I can always go back and do more of that after. But I like the stitching, I like the color of it, I like the copper rivets. I do still like this style closure. Maybe I'll explore some other ones, maybe like a little toggle style or something, but I think it works good for now. So I almost forgot. I need to oil it too. This leather is actually nice, so it doesn't feel terribly dry like some of the other stuff I've worked with, but it is still somewhat dry. So get the axe out of the way, and I'm just using 100% pure neat's foot oil. Just got a little acid brush, and I'll just keep on the side here. Yeah, like I said, and this will help the sheath kind of conform as it's on the axe. So yeah, I think it came out nice. Like I said, this is it's kind of dark right now from the oil just being put on, but as the oil dries, that's already, and that closure's already fitting better. Now that's kind of breaking in a little bit, so I think that'll be fine. I do still want to order some longer ones, but I think that'll be fine for, it'll be fine for now. So that leather's so stiff it wants to lift out a lot, so as that oil works in and the leather kind of forms and takes shape, it'll lay a lot flatter. Yeah, I like the color. It's not quite coming across on camera as nice as it is in person. It's a little more chocolatey in person. On the camera, it's looking a little more brown, like darker brown. In person, it's got some more like reddish hues to it too. But yeah, I really like it. I'll definitely be one. I've got a whole a whole shoulder out, so I'll definitely be making stuff out of it in the future. But yeah, I'm very happy. I forgot the whole bottom here, didn't I? Maybe it might just be soaking up a lot, but. And I've used open-offs a lot before too, for kind of maintaining after you've already done a bunch of initial coats of neat's foot oil. The open-offs is nice, but when you're kind of really soaking and saturating it, I kind of like using the neat's foot. But again, I'm not a leather expert, so if you are, and I did things horribly wrong, one, mention down below in the comments so one, I can learn, and so everyone else can too. So, yeah.